and questions. We're beginning chapter 39, and chapter 39 in one word, lishma. What it means to truly connect, for goodness sake, for God's sake, which will, what does it mean to really connect? How do we know that we really connect with another? How do we know that we really connect with God? But we'll get there. It's going to be, I don't know if we'll get there. Well, we're setting the path for that. What did we learn till now? We learn that the act of doing good, of doing a mitzvah, of a good deed, the act itself is a divine connection. However, an act without kavanah, without intent, it's not illuminous. It's not an illuminated mitzvah. You don't have an illuminated life. But when you have kavanah, when you have intent, mindfulness in the act itself, the connection that you're making through this act, then it becomes a luminous act of goodness, of a mitzvah. That's what we learned till now. Then we explained in kavanah, there's two levels. There's the level that is analogous to a human being, and a level that's analogous to an animal. To the human being, what is unique about the human being is that we have a mind that can feed the heart, and based on what we know, is what we should feel. So when you know something is wonderful, like studying Tanya, so that feeds your heart that you have a love and a desire to study it. When you know that something is harmful, bad, not good for you, so that feeds your heart, of course, and you dislike that. You have you refrain from it. That's when we can understand our relationship with God, the greatness of God, the value of the good that we're doing, the mitzvah that we're doing. And that feeds our heart, that we have a feeling in our heart. Then that's an intent, a kavanah, that is analogous to the human. What is the intent that's analogous to the animal? Is an animal doesn't have that. An animal, their fear is instinctual, right? It's instinctual, and therefore it's not the mind feeding the heart. Some other animal is coming after them instinctually, and of course we have that within us. We have the human element and the animal element in us, and so in the animal analogous in us is that we have an instinct too. That our instinct is based on the divine soul that we have within us. That the divine soul wants to connect. It wants to connect through the act of doing a mitzvah to God. That's what it wants. Why? Because that's its nature. That's the makeup of the soul. It's a part of God. And that's what it wants, therefore. That's instinctual. Again, it's not something that you create. Those are the two levels of kavanah. Now, in this chapter, the Alter Rebbe continues with this thought and of souls and angels that we're going to talk about. So now we can understand why angels are called chayot, beasts, or behemoths, animals. As it's written about angels, the face of the lion is to the right of the divine chariot of Ezekiel, and the face of the ox is on the left. So why are angels called animals? Holy animals, they're holy animals, right? They're not earthly animals. Holy animals, why? Because just like an animal has no freedom of choice, likewise angels have no freedom of choice. Meaning their love and awe of God is natural to them. They didn't create it. They didn't use their minds to understand and appreciate. And therefore, being that it's instinctual, that angels have a love and awe of God, they're compared to animals. Now, when we speak about angels, just to make sure that we are all on the same page, we're not speaking about Casper the Friendly Ghost. We're not speaking about, we're speaking about a divine creation. God, just like souls are creations, angels are also creations. We're going to get into a distinction between them. We'll have an understanding. Um, and they're creations in order for God to, part of the creative process, and God fulfills some of the needs of creation, shall we say, through angels. Okay? So they're a divine energy force, if you'd like to put it in other words. So now, therefore, the righteous are at a much holier level, on a higher level, than the angels. The abode of the souls of the righteous, of tzaddikim, is in the world of Bria, and angels are in the world of Yetzirah. What's the difference between the world of Bria and Yetzirah? There's four worlds. Atzilus, which means the world of emanation. Bria, the world of creation. Yetzirah, the world of formation. And Asiya, the world of action. Spiritual action and ultimately the physical. Right? The four spiritual worlds and this physical world. So, the world of Yetzirah is primarily a world of divine emotions, where emotions, divine emotions, are what is prevalent in that world. And they imbue that world with divine chesed, kindness, gvura, which brings an awe. So therefore, those that kind of live there, the angels that live there, for example, this is what they're experiencing, because this is what dominates that spiritual world of divine emotion. So the angel Gabriel, or Gabriel in English, right, is constantly in a state of awe, because that's what they're experiencing, divine emotions there, because they come from the left part of the divine attributes, and the left is gvura, strength, power, sense of awe that is experienced there. On the other hand, Michael, the angel Michael, or Michael in English, is the right side, and therefore is constantly engaged in a love of God, adoration of godliness, from the divine attribute of chesed, of divine loving kindness that is imbued. Right? That's in the world of Yetzirah. But the world of Bria, which is a higher world, is radiated by intelligence. Bina in particular, understanding, divine understanding that is predominantly perceived in that world. And therefore, the righteous, who are their souls emanate from there, or are an abode there, they are constantly through an awareness, not just instinctually, as is in the world of Yetzirah, of divine emotions are there, but the intelligence, meaning the awareness of godliness, produces in these souls a awe and love of God. Again, coming from where? An understanding, an appreciation, an awareness of godliness. And that's what's called the heart's desire, Rusa Daliba, that it brings this heartfelt feeling of love and awe based on awareness and understanding. And that's the higher level of Garden of Eden, of Gan Eden, in the world of Bria, as opposed to the lower level of Garden of Eden is in the world of Yetzirah, in the world of formation. Okay? Let me give a little more elaboration over here that we can get an appreciation and understanding what's going on over here. And let me give a metaphor that is kind of my metaphor that I kind of put together to understand the difference of the worlds. Imagine, you have the cure for all illnesses, right? You have the cure for all illnesses. And of course, Ultimately, God does. But you have the cure of, now, there are four elements in bringing this to fruition, the cure of all illnesses. And they're based, there's a metaphor to understand the four worlds. The four worlds. So you have this very, again, this is a metaphor, so, you might say that, well, it doesn't have to be that way. You're right. Obviously, it doesn't have to be that way, but for the metaphor, it does. Because you choose how you want to give a metaphor in order to understand a concept, right? So the concept is to understand the four worlds and the distinction between the four worlds. So, because the worlds are the way divinity, vitality, energy, the force of God, the light of God, is brought down into this physical world. It comes by way of evolutionary process, which we believe in evolution, from spiritual to physical. That's the evolution we believe in, right? Parenthetically, not Darwinism, but a spiritual evolution. So we need to understand how things evolve. And so this is the metaphor, and to understand how it comes, the light of God, the power of God, the vitality of God into creation. So it works as follows. Again, the metaphor, the cure of all cures for all disease. It's got to somehow come from above down here. So the metaphor is that you have a lofty soul that is not just a genius, but such an inspired soul, so connected. This is the CEO of this corporation that is bringing this healing to the world and has the vision, has it all. And the vision isn't their vision because they're so bound up to their source that they are just able to reflect the divine source. That is this CEO, this unbelievable individual who has the wherewithal, the mind, the heart, the capability, the vision, everything about that person is so totally connected that it is the conduit for this unbelievable thing, curing all of disease. That's the world of Atzilus. So we'll see. That's a metaphor for it too, so which we'll get back to. But then that's not sufficient because now this person has that vision, but needs all of the brain trust in order to make this happen. Meaning all the scientists, the doctors, the brain trust that they are working in a different area of actually making this pill, call it, whatever, call it the pill, right? This pill, the ultimate pill that will cure all of disease, right? Again, it's a metaphor. So you need this brain trust that comes together and just, gets it, works it out. And of course, in that brain trust, you're going to have a lot of different kind of, perspectives. One coming from this angle, another from another angle, and so on. There'll be some kind of division even, but finally they'll come and get it together. Now, after that brain trust comes together, what do you need next? The next thing is you need the group that knows how to market this. Because, if you have the greatest pill on earth that's going to bring healing to all disease, again, it's a metaphor, without marketing it, who's going to know about it? So you got it, right? It's on the shelf. It's been shelved. Actually, so you need the marketing group that they come together. They know how to get to the heart of a person. Because that's what marketers do, right? Marketers don't talk to your intelligence, they talk to your heart, right? Unfortunately, most marketing is talking to the negative side of your heart. But this, marketing group is going to speak to the good side of you, right? To make sure that it's marketed in a way that everybody will, wow, this I got to have. But finally, that's great, you have it marketed. But if you don't have the truck driver who's taking the goods to the store, right? To the place where they can be, where people can get them, then all the marketing in the world ain't going to help. You got to have those guys, the action guys, who just, Now, does the truck driver appreciate? Does the truck driver truly appreciate the value of this build? Not intellectually, not at all. They're not, they're not the scientists involved. Do they appreciate that this is something invaluable, that they gotta put everything into it to make sure they bring it to wherever it needs to go so people can have it? Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Right. Does the marketer appreciate all the intelligence and everything? No, not. Do they appreciate that this is, wow, this could, save people, save humanity? Absolutely. So let's now take this and understand this by way of the four worlds and the evolution of the divine light that comes down. The world of Atzilus is the world of emanation. It's a world not separate at all from its source. It's one with its source. It's not creation. It's not God. It's an emanation of God. It's almost like, that there's you and what you do, right? But then it's sort of like your aura. I don't know if that's a good way to describe it, but let's put it that way, right? So there is that what emanates is of you. That is the CEO, right? Totally bound up, and therefore the visionary, therefore the one who's the inspiration, because so connected to the source, has the vision on how to make this work. But then it needs to evolve from there into the brain trust, right? That is the world of Bria. World of Bria is the world, actually the world of emanation is a world that is beyond intelligence. It's just pure divine connection. The world of Bria is the world of divine intelligence. So the metaphor again is that brain trust that's there. In that world, there's already a sense of selfhood, of autonomy. And that's why, the brain trust over there, you can have different opinions and so on what is the way to go with this healing, because there is that sense of autonomy. Minor, but there is, right? But that's divine, world of divine intelligence. And then you have the world of emotion, world of Yitzhira, it's a world of divine emotion, which that's the marketers, right? Who need to tap into the emotions of people in order to make certain that they, want to have this. Not enough to get to their intelligence, you have to get to their emotions. And then you have finally the truck driver. The truck driver is a world of action, a world of asiya, right? That they just bring it to where it needs to go, right? All these worlds work at the same time. All these worlds are a reality that need to be in play in order to, in the metaphor, to bring this healing pill, right, to the people. So for the analogy, then the analog over here is, in these worlds we have we have the lofty righteous souls that are in the world of Bria, which is a world of divine intelligence, and their intelligence of their soul brings them an awareness of God that they can then feed that to their emotions. Angels and other souls, by the way, not just angels, are in the world of Yitzhira, right? And a world of emotion that is instinctual, as we explained, as therefore angels are called holy animals, right? Because they don't have the freedom of will as a result. So that gives us I hope, a little more clarity. I'm going to pause for a moment. Any questions? Going to look over here to see if I got any questions on 2 question marks first. And then I don't see anything. Okay. I don't see on Clubhouse anybody with a question. Okay, just a reminder again on Facebook, if you have a question, put 2 question marks first and then ask the question. That way I can clearly see that you have. Vilma?
Rabbi,
Yes.
yeah, this information is extensive and it's new to me, like about how organized the world of the spiritual is. It is a lot to just process, but it's beautiful. It sounds like a beautiful design and purposeful.
Yes, thank you for sharing that. Absolutely, it is a lot, and actually, we were just we're just touching a very much the surface of it, but it is and this is part of what it means to contemplate and be able to meditate and think about God's greatness, is to appreciate the worlds, the spiritual worlds, the evolution from world to world, and when you get that, and when you have a little understanding of that, our perception of our world is very different, and our engagement in the world becomes very different. A much more connected one, because we are appreciating um, how everything is evolving, and it's not just happenstance. Um, you know, not obviously we're not going to be able to appreciate that in everything in our lives, but just the a knowledge of this gives us an appreciation how whatever comes from above is really directed in a very specific, intended manner. Thank you for sharing that. Okay, I want to continue now with this. Let me just see if I saw anything. I want to continue. Um, oh, Denise says, Andrew and Denise, you have questions. Am I able to see them? Oh, Andrew's asking, how do we reach this level? Okay. Well, how do you reach this level is not necessarily something we're capable of reaching, because our souls come from one of these worlds. Oh, okay. I see. I did miss. So Andrew's that. In other words, how do we reach such a level that our soul is coming from, the world of Bria? Well, our soul, all souls come from beyond the worlds, but they devolve, or whatever, evolve, whatever word you want to, they come down and they pick up from various worlds. The righteous that come from the world of Bria, they kind of just pass through the other worlds and are not touched, tainted by anything of that world. Because remember, as you come down, the worlds are lesser light of God, much greater contraction of the light, and therefore the soul then gains um, a different attachment to the divine. And what that really means over here is, what is your purpose? What are you um, intended to do in this world? So most of our souls in our generation are not coming from the world of Bria, not even a Yetzirah. Most of our souls are coming from the world of Asiya, the truck driver. We're just about doing it, right? We're not going to have very, very lofty um, spiritual connection. Now you might think, well, does that mean I'm a lesser soul, lesser purpose? Actually, no. In a way, it's even a greater purpose. We may not be so refined, but you know what? Sometimes the refinement of soul doesn't allow you to engage in the world. The more refined your soul is, the more difficult it is an engagement in the materiality of this world, of the truly of righteous. The less refined means you can go through hell and come out of it. You could do that, right? You could do that. Whereas the loftier soul may not. And therefore, each and every one of us have a purpose. So the fact that our soul may be of a lesser grade of divine, um, I don't want to call it divine connection because all of it's a divine connection, but lesser light that is illuminating our soul. So our soul is not so refined. You know, when I'm talking about the righteous, and that they can just put their hand over their head for a brief second and bring to mind a presence of God, and that will change their entire demeanor in a moment, or entire, um, it's something beyond us that we can imagine. We can't imagine. Just put your hand on your head for a moment. Just think for a moment, and that will, change your whole emotional, response in the moment. We can't change emotionally like going from one extreme to another. The righteous are capable from the world of Bria. That's a very lofty, refined soul. I don't got that. I'll be quite honest. I ain't got that, right? Even after I meditate a while on something, not necessarily can I change something in my feelings, but right. But that's what they are, and that's what they're supposed to be. But that doesn't mean that's what I have to be. Maybe I'm just a delivery boy. Maybe I just got to take the message of Torah mitzvahs. Oh, that's all I got to do is I got to be a delivery boy, a delivery girl, right? And take the message and bring it to others. I just got to use my feet, just like the truck driver uses his truck and delivers the goods. That's what we are. We're here to deliver the goods because we're bringing finally the final revelation of the divine by delivering the goods into a material world, and that's what our engagement is. So we don't need to necessarily be, on that level. We need to fulfill what we're all about. I hope that was clear. Um, Denise asks, is there any relation to Yom Kippur? As it is said, we stood before you as the angels stood before you in the heavenly realm. Yes, thank you, Denise. That's very good. So sometimes, you know, we may be generally a soul that is, comes from the world of Asiya, the world of action, the lowest of the worlds, right? And even in that, we can come from different dimensions, so we all have a different quality in the world of Asiya because there's 10 divine attributes, right? 3 intellectual and 7 and 7 emotional. So we might evolve from one more specific than another. So, excuse me. So there can be, though, at times that we are more of a soul. We kind of get ourselves to a higher place, like on Yom Kippur. Exactly. That's why there's a custom to wear a kittel, which is white, because we're angelic on that day. So yeah, there are moments that we can be on that level. Erica said it well. Foot soldiers. Yeah, foot soldiers. John, and the soul root of Moshe is an Atzilus. Yes. Yeah, we're going to get to Atzilus later, not today. Okay, but absolutely. Yeah, so we can be those foot soldiers. That's okay. That's wonderful.
May I ask a question, Rabbi?
Sure. Brief question because there's a lot more to go through. I realize that time's running on. Go ahead.
Oh, no, no, no. Go ahead.
No, I mean I don't want to. If you have a question on the topic, because I want to go on to the next topic or the next idea, continuing this topic. If it's clarification, then we always need to have clarification. Go ahead, Vilma.
Just for me, so this is how I think about it. Doesn't God have messengers that are humans and animals, and he works through the vessels, and also, well, let me just leave it at that.
Okay. Yes, everything yes, that's another point, a different point, but a valid point. Let's continue. Right now, we're going to continue this, okay? This idea. Now, so souls